Jump out that sofa. Let's kick it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. And do it. And do it. Do it. Do it. Let's do it. And do it. And do it. Do it. Do it. Let's do it. And do it. And do it. Do it. Do it.
We're in this together. Hear our hearts beat together.
Work hard, play hard, work hard, play hard. We work hard, play hard, keep partying like it's your job. Work hard, play hard, work hard, play hard. We work hard, play hard, keep partying like it's your job.
Bang, bang, he shot me down. Bang, bang, I hit the ground. Bang, bang. I need to be the one who takes you home. One more time, I promise that till then I let you go. You love me and I'm frozen time. Hungry for that flesh of mine.
I wanna make you sweat. I just wanna make you sweat. I wanna make you sweat. I just wanna make you sweat.
That I want is just to go crazy when the sun goes down. And all that I need is for you to be my baby when the sun goes down.
I just wanna make you sweat.
When the sun goes down.
I don't know where the lights are taking us, but something in the night is dangerous, and nothing's holding back the two of us. Baby, this is getting serious. The things are dangerous.
If you wanna put it on me, you're not gonna get it for free. Come on, now daddy, take this money on me, on me, on me. You got to pull up. Banging the drum like dum diddy day. I know you want it in the worst way. I wanna hear you calling my name like, hey mama, mama, hey mama. Say goodbye. Don't leave me alone. Just take the night. I need you tonight. Figure it out, but don't stop moving. Go. Figure it out. Do this, keep on running. We gotta get through today. If you're really being honest, if you really want this, ooh, oh, why you acting like a stranger? What's with your behavior? Ooh, oh, say my name. If you love me, let me hear you. Say my name. I am dying to believe you. I feel alone in your arms. I feel you breaking my heart. Say my name. If you love me, let me.
Welcome to the Tour de Zwift course presentation. This January, we're going to be bringing you everything that's great about Zwift under one roof. The best maps and courses and the ultimate experience of riding along with thousands of other people just like you would in the real world in a Gran Fondo. But it's not a race, more a giant party on wheels and a wonderful way to experience Zwift. Zwift has 5 worlds and you'll be riding them all. So Watopia, London, Richmond, Innsbruck and New York. This tour has it all. Start strong and finish even stronger. 9 days of riding and events all month long. If you're new to Zwift, joining the tour is simple. Just head to zwift.com/TDZ or sign up using the Zwift companion app, which is available on Android and iOS. And there's slots available all month long, so it shall easily fit into your schedule. Ride as many stages as you like, and don't worry if you miss a stage, because we'll be scheduling 2 makeup days at the end of the tour. And finish the tour itself, and you get to unlock the official Tour de Zwift kit. So, to recap, 9 stages, 5 worlds, open to all. The tour opens with stage 1 in Watopia, which is Zwift's very own fantasy island. Now get this, you'll even get to pedal under the sea, and you might even need mosquito net as we head deep into the jungle. Usually you need to be a level 10 Zwifter or above to ride in the jungle, but if you join a group ride on the Tour de Zwift, it doesn't matter. Now the stage itself starts with a gently undulating 13 kilometers, then a short steep climb, and then a lovely drop and a descent into the Mayan ruins with its temples, waterfalls, and stunning views. For stage 2, we're escaping to New York, Zwift's newest world. And when we mean new, we mean new, because Zwift have reimagined New York's Central Park 100 years into the future in 2120. And the sky is really the limit here. This one will blow your socks off. Stage 2, we're taking a big bite out of the everything bagel. Now this route covers all of the roads in New York City, on the ground and above it, and takes in such mega sites as the Met Museum, the Plaza, and even the reimagined Zwift High Line. We'll hit the King of the Mountains and the sprint segments from both directions. So plenty of climbing, but lots of nice fast descending as well. For stage 3, we're moving across the pond to my hometown of London. Now, this world is based on the Prudential Ride London, which is the world's largest sportif. Now, if you think London is flat, think again, because we start off with a few circuits at the centre of the heart of the city, then we move out into the rolling Surrey Hills and the fierce climb of Keith Hill. Yes, Keith. Around and around the volcano we go on stage 4, because we're back to Watopia. Now, first off, we start on the flat, an opportunity to get us nice and warmed up before the first big ascent. Now, this isn't the hardest climb at all in Zwift, but it is a taster of what's to come. So maybe go for a KOM, personal best perhaps. Just make sure you stay hydrated, because that lava is pretty warm. Stage 5, and time to celebrate and ride some cobbles, as we're at the halfway point of the tour, and we're in Richmond, Virginia, the site of the 2015 World Road Race Championships, which was the first World in Zwift based on a real course. It's got some short, really punchy climbs up Libby Hill and 23rd Street, but make sure you pace yourself on the first flat part of the course, because at the back end, the climbs come in real rapid succession. They're short, but flip, they sting. Next up is the Queen stage. Stage 6 will be a pivotal one, and certainly the most demanding, as we return to Watopia, Zwifter's favourite world. We'll start off at the Mayan ruins, and then, well, it's the Alp de Zwift. With over 1,000 meters of climbing, this is the biggest mountain in Zwift, and it's based on Alpe d'Huez, the iconic climb as used on multiple occasions in the Tour de France. Just make sure you pace yourself and don't blow, because you'll be facing between an hour and an hour and a half of climbing. But get up and you'll be on top of the world, or Watopia. Pack your bags, we're heading for Innsbruck, Austria, as stage 7 sees us riding the 2018 UCI World Road Championships short course, essentially bringing the Alps into your home, minus the wild animals and the rather chilly snow. Stage 7 will be scenic yet very challenging. After a quick spin around the beautiful Innsbruck streets, you'll head under the Autobahn and onto the climb, which is split into 3 distinct sections with plateaus in between. Oh, and don't forget to say hi to the Swarovski giants. You've made it to stage 8 and it's London calling again, and this time for a quick loop around the city before heading to the iconic climb of Box Hill, the very same climb that was used in the 2012 Olympic Games road race. The last 2 stages have really tested the legs, but compared to the Alp, this is a mere speed bump. You're nearly there. Then it's back to NYC, New York City, for stage 9. After all of your hard graft, it's time to hit the perimeter for a cruise around the park. Have a hot dog. Check out the robot horses. Don't forget to look upwards as well. Enjoy this one, you've earned it. Whether it's your first tour or the next one on your list, make sure you sign up and join us. The Tour de Zwift starts on January the 3rd, so head to zwift.com/TDZ to register. You know what to do. Make sure you don't miss it.
What's up everyone, this is Talbot Cox here, coming to you live from Mr. Sanders' house. This is the beginning of the perfect fit, is what we'll call it. So, check out this madness.
Well, Jim will. Jim is a gentleman, right? To work with Jim is very easy. Jim will say, "What do you want, guys?" And then
Right here we got a small frame.
feedback.
Right here we got a medium frame.
What do you want?
Road bike.
Jim
Lionel's
is-
old bike.
You know, Jim's job is he had the fit studio at the velodrome. Yeah. And before Alpha Mantis was designed.
What's going on here today? Sebastian was last week. Did you want to copy him?
Yeah, just gonna, from now on, I'm gonna watch his YouTube channel and I'm just gonna week do everything that he does. It's probably a good strategy. You can bleep this though.
So while we're at it, I may as well outline to you what we were provisionally thinking, Jim, which was he has his medium Indian Wells position that he just rode on Sunday, and that's going to be the first baseline. And then the next position is going to be on, that's a medium frame that he's riding, and then the next run is going to be on a small that we have put together a position on, but we haven't tested it like he's been riding the last position for a month and obviously raced it. So we'll see where that is. Then while the small is going through its series of trials, Stefan and I can get the medium that he has just tested on as in number 1 to its essentially most aggressive position.
Got it. Okay.
And then we can run that as test 3.
Perfect.
So it's the medium in essentially the most aggressive position. There's one adjustment that we don't have, which is he can go 15 mils longer on a base bar and the pad. But the most aggressive position on his medium is 30 mils lower than he's just raced.
Okay.
So it is. It's quite.
What's up, everyone? This is Talbot Cox here, coming to you live from Mr. Sanders.
Big jump.
So that then, from those three, I think we'll definitely have an understanding of what's jumping out. And then from there, I suppose I'd reserve like what will be the fourth trial, time permitting in that.
We have plenty of time.
And then that'll be that will drive it from there.
We will have time. This should go pretty quick.
And again, like, I think everyone's aware of this, but just while we're at it, this is our first visit, and I would be intending that we'd come back here like maybe like a late February or something, and because whatever comes out of today, we need to ensure that, you know, it's efficient for him, he can ride it, it works in his training, it works at the power loads and at the durations, and then if we're happy on that, then we want to again kind of reinforce or validate the numbers we thought we got first that drove us this direction, and two, we want to refine
So the inspiration behind the pond was always the 2,000-gallon aquarium, but I don't think I've ever explained why. You see, I love the stocking on the 2000. I got freshwater stingrays, Asian arowana, and to me that's the ultimate combination. Not for everybody, but in my opinion, for my hobby. But there's other massive fish that I want to keep, including some red-tailed catfish, which this video is mostly gonna focus on.
What's up, everyone? This is Talbot Cox. Sebastian was last week. Did you want to copy him?
Yeah, just gonna from now on.
Outlined to you what we were provisionally thinking, Jim. And then the next run is going to be on a small that we have put together a position on, but we haven't tested it like he's been riding the last position for a month and obviously raced it. So we'll see where that is. Then while the small is going through its series of trials, Stefan and I can get the medium that he has just tested on as in number 1 to its essentially most aggressive position.
Got it. Okay.
And then we can run that as test 3.
Perfect.
So it's the medium and essentially the most aggressive position. There's one adjustment that we don't have, which is he can go 15 mils longer on a base bar and the pad.
Yeah.
But it's the most aggressive position on his medium is 30 mils lower than he's just raced.
Okay.
So
wow,
it is.
that's a lot.
It's quite a jump.
Big jump.
So that then from those 3, I think we'll definitely have an understanding of what's jumping out, and then from there, I suppose I'd reserve like what will be the 4th trial, time permitting in that.
We have plenty of time.
And then that'll be that will drive it from there.
We will have time. This should go pretty quick.
And again, like I think everyone's aware of this, but just while we're at it, this is our first visit, and I would be intending that we'd come back here like maybe like a late February or something, and because whatever comes out of today, we need to ensure that it's efficient for him, he can ride it, it works in his training, it works at the power loads and at the durations, and then if we're happy on that, then we want to again kind of reinforce or validate the numbers we thought we got first that drove us this direction, and 2, we want to refine it with any sort of finishing touches, whether it's Garneau with equipment or elsewhere or whatever.
Long-term development.
Yeah.
For, hopefully for years with this Super Canyon bag.
Sure.
And we're going to keep I think you probably talked about this. We're going to keep the actual data to ourselves and not share it with anybody unless you want to. But otherwise, we're going to keep that data to ourselves. And
the party line on that is that we're going to be analysing this data after the session. So we're not sharing what's going on now. We're capturing the data, we're going to analyze it. We've got some new software that we're running it through, and that's our party line.
Yep. All right, power for 70.3 versus a full.
The quantity on average?
Just average power.
The last one I just did was 345, 70.3 on Sunday.
Okay, what would you expect out of a full? This just helps us calculate time.
About somewhere between 310 and 320, my best being 318.
Okay, we'll go 315. It just helps us calculate time savings for you.
Yeah, sure.
A little more accurate.
Baseline just creates point A, and how we get from point A to point B has yet to be decided, but at least today we'll establish what point A is, and then it'll help us maybe drive some of the decisions that we face with regard to either his contact points, his choices on crank length, where we're going to put the arm pad. People might think that this position, you just pick a position and away you go. It's not anything like that. It's a case of evolving the position and copper fastening it that it works for duration, for intensity, and with the rider. And it's easy to come up with a fast bike position. You can just slam the front end and call it good, but we need to know how well he's going to run off this bike. So there's a lot of meticulous planning going into this this objective.
So the Alpha Mana system is at its base, it's actually very simple. We're measuring how much power does it take you to go a given speed. We don't care what the power is. We don't really care what the speed is. We like you around race pace, but the software figures out all by itself what your drag number is by those numbers. And there's some other stuff cooked in there that's all part of the algorithm that we don't get to talk about. But in the end, that's all it is. How much power does it take you to go a given speed? So for instance, no, go ahead.
Okay, can you put on this note that just saying for the only change is arm pads are into 11 centimeters width.
Okay, so right now what we've done, we've done a couple different tests with Lionel, trying to really get a baseline for different positions to see where we want to go next. So we've tested both a medium-sized bike and a small-sized bike. We're trying to determine the difference between those two bikes, a couple different crank lengths. So all these things matter to us, and once we start being able to settle in on where he's at as a baseline on both bikes, then we can start optimizing his position from there. What's better in your baseline, but 17 watts better than the same position but with your elbows out. Because what it is, brings your shoulders in. Bring your shoulders in, you're gonna get.
Yeah, it feels better. That's the strange part, is that it feels better.
Sounds dumb, but narrow is arrow, right? I mean, we can get your shoulders in, and you can maintain that position, you are going to go faster.
Okay.
B, that we do 165 and narrow.
In one step.
In one step.
Yeah, that's what we...
And then we go low. So two real trials now.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
So we
You think the 165 is having a big impact there?
We're getting your average power for the lap, okay? We're getting your speed in kilometers per hour. We're getting the distance you travel.
Wow, this is amazing.
Yeah, so we get everything.
Very cool. So it wouldn't take much to get over 48k an hour.
No, you could easily do that.
All right.
You're on a geared bike too, right?
Does that all have an impact?
Yeah,
if you took all that stuff off, it's going to have an impact.
Huge.
Hydration. All right. You'll be my coach for when we try to break the Canadian. Oh yeah. It's my cue.
Yes, what are we doing here, Ivan?
Maybe we put a lid on that and
Next trial on the bike, but we're just looking at some motion
movement
data
patterns
from him as we're changing this position. I promise I'm not putting my hand anywhere I'm not supposed to. He enjoys
Don't get this on film. Don't
He enjoys this part.
IOG, how you feel thus far, and where are we heading next?
We're going to go out on the road and we're going to do a little bit of outdoor testing, and we're just trying to reconfirm what we're learning from here and see if we can repeat it on the road, real conditions. Big difference between riding around here in circles and been out in certain crosswinds, and how these positions actually feel on the road. So it's all a process.
But what I'm going to need you to do here is, is 300 PS, 300 power something you can easily hold?
Oh, yeah. Like holding 360 on those tests in the track.
Okay, so
track.
So are you happy with everything you got accomplished today? Did you accomplish what you wanted to?
This has been a great session today. Absolutely. I'm excited to analyze the data. I mean, without a doubt, we're picking up some wattage right now over yesterday's race, or 2 days ago's race. The question is how much, and how much more can we get?
Sebi picked up 50 watts. On
50?
His, yep.
I just picked up 85, bro. Come on. Come at me, bro. Come at me.
What all did you guys get accomplished today?
Well, today was a busy day. I suppose I'd just summarize it in you know, we went in depth looking at Lionel's position choices on the track, and then we came out and we tested on the road in some kind of real life circumstances, race conditions. So yeah, we've got a lot of data to process at this stage.
Did you guys decide on a small or a medium?
That decision hasn't been made yet. You know, there's going to be factors, what the aerodynamicists say, what Lionel says himself about how it handles, and ultimately this position needs to be stress tested through his training blocks. So I think we're going to have some clear avenues out of this, and then we're going to have to be very careful in kind of how we progress on them.
With that, so you're not just going to say this is the best position, or you're going to let him ride that, or how does that go about?
Yeah, like the rider gets his say for sure. You know, what we're trying to do here is we're trying to like layer a position, we're trying to mold a position, and then it's multifactorial, you know. So I've kind of outlined already what those factors are, and then when we process all that and we come up with a plan to progress his position, then it has to go into training, and then through that we'll see if it's actually clicking or if we need to adjust again. So we have no conclusions drawn, we just have amassed a great amount of data, and also a quality data that we'll be able to repeat, because again within 8 weeks we'll be doing some more of this to ensure that we're getting consistent data, and again to reconfirm that we're on the right road.
Are you happy with everything you guys got accomplished today?
Yeah, like a day like today is a hectic day. You know, Canyon are putting some big support and resources behind him. He's got a great team around him. There's one goal, and that's Lionel, and in this outcome. So everyone that was here today is working towards that, and I think it was a very productive day.
I haven't done a swim session per se for a couple of months, and the last time I vaguely did anything like swimming was over a month ago.
Yeah, that really nice bike that I've been given, I've never ridden it before.
I don't think I've ever actually run a marathon.
Mark came up with this really...
Yeah, well, like, why would you come up with something so ridiculous?
I mean, it's kind of such a tough
Where
thing
do you
to
think
even
for
try.
a moment that you would even like...
There's three of us now.
Yeah,
no.
but
Perfect for a team relay.
record. I mean, like, we're not exactly pro athletes.
We thought about how hard
like,
this is. It's
do you realise...
But there's only one of them. That was
To welcome Fraser to the team, one of us decided that we'd fly out to Lanzarote to partake in a challenge. Between the three of us, we will attempt to break a record, the Ironman Lanzarote course record, to be precise.
Go on, Emma. I'm just gonna walk for a second.
That's right, between the three of us, we are going to be attempting the Ironman Lanzarote racecourse as a team relay in an attempt to break, or at least see how close we can realistically come to breaking the course record.
Yeah, well, before we head south down across the island to Puerto del Carmen for the start of the race, it's probably time we looked at some details for Ironman Lanzarote. It has been going for 26 years, and it's often referred to as the hardest race in the calendar. Perfect.
Yeah, and it takes place in May each year, but we're doing it under our own accord here in November on exactly the same course. Now, that course has changed a little bit over the years, but we're going to be doing it on the course that male pro record was broken on in 2011 by Timo Bracht in a time of 8 hours, 30 minutes and 34 seconds. Now, I'll be honest, I'm keen for us to try and beat that record,
But let's just say maybe more realistically, we're just going to try and get as close as we can.
So here is how the course looks for all of us. I will be taking on the swim, needing to break a time of 47 minutes, 52 seconds. I'll be starting in the swim from this beach in Puerto del Carmen. It's a 3.8 kilometre sea swim and is fairly choppy. It's an out and back with an Australian exit where I'll run around Fraser and back into the water to complete another loop. I will then exit the swim here and run up to where the usual transition area is for the event, where Fraser will be waiting on his bike, ready to get tagged.
And for me, it's the bike. And the time I'm aiming to hit is 4 hours, 49 and 53 seconds. The Lanzarote bike course sees almost an entire loop of the island, including hills and some of my favourite parts. The El Golfo region, all the way up through Fire Mountain, down the backside of Tabiesco, up to Mirador del Rio, before looping back and eventually after a few hours of riding, back into Puerto del Carmen, where I started and where I'm going to hand over to Mark.
And finally, we have myself on the run, looking for a time of 2 hours, 47 minutes and 20 seconds. This is a 42.2 kilometre run, and I'll work my way up along the coastal path past the airport before making a U-turn and work my way back down before completing a couple of shorter loops to finish. The course is simple, relatively flat, but I will have to deal with a few pedestrians as this is a fairly popular tourist walkway.
Oh, I'm nervous. This challenge makes me nervous quite a lot because I've spent an awful lot of time training on the island of Lanzarote and I've never done the Ironman distance in Lanzarote for a reason.
I feel like I have got the lucky end because even if I'm really unfit, I know I can float for 3.8k. I'm going to be wearing a wetsuit. But as a team, I think we're pretty ambitious.
I've kind of erased it from my mind for a while, knowing that I've never run a marathon and I've got to run 42.2 kilometres. Collectively as a team, I think we're all pretty nervous. You reckon Heather's going to be all right out there tomorrow?
Well, she's swimming pretty well at the moment, Mark.
Very rough.
Safe to say, the jokes quickly subsided. The next morning had arrived and we prepared for our fate.
Good question. Where is Heather? Anyone seen Heather? No.
What's the time?
6:10. Gonna leave in 15, 20 minutes. Oh, there we go.
You're not excited?
You're not excited?
Why are you still here? Am I supposed to say that I'm not awake? Yep.
So all of us, full of energy, got ourselves to the start line.
The conditions were perfect. And after some trouble trying to line ourselves up with the start line...
Yeah, it's all right, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, we're gonna come in line with you. 3, 2, 1.
We were off.
Some expert navigation going on here. That way. So Heather's done the turnaround on lap 1. She's heading back towards shore. I think we're fairly accurate on distance. It's quite hard to say, so if we do get ever so slightly wrong, she'll just swim a little bit extra at the end. Conditions are the same, so nothing really changes on the swim. just as long as we got the right distance. But she seems to be going really well.
It was quite hard work, and definitely like by coming back on the land and like seeing Fraser was cool, and I could have quite happily stopped then to then go back out and do it all over again. It was I just started to feel a bit tired. I could definitely tell my lack of fitness. It's yeah, my arms are tired.
Yeah, just like maybe to the building, I reckon. We are on 37 minutes. All right, I think actually we were a bit concerned maybe we'd overdone it on the first lap, but she was maybe 100 meters further, so not as bad as we thought, just cutting the second lap a little bit shorter, but yeah, looking good actually.
Picked up since this morning when Heather started. But it's Lanzarote, huh? It's supposed to be windy. Tell you what, these wheels, woo!
Yeah, now I've just left Fraser and Mark with a lot of work to do. So, I mean, Fraser's just retired as a pro, so he's surely the one that's, you know, makes sense for him to have the biggest chunk of it. He's got to go more than 13 minutes quicker than the record holder did. And I mean, the conditions seem nice here. There's a bit of a breeze picking up, but hopefully it's going to be a tailwind for him. And then on his way back, the wind drops. You know, we need everything on our side, I think, because I haven't really given the guys the best chance. So yeah, my bad.
With the race as it is, Fraser needs to complete the ride in 4 hours and 36 minutes. So Heather and I thought we'd track him down and show him a little bit of support.
Just tracking Fraser. He is going through Timber Fire at the moment.
In 500 meters, turn right onto Camino.
That's our Google directions telling us where to go to catch him up. Probably just a couple of kilometres. No, but he is very close. He's at the top of this hill. He's taking a left, so we will be with him in the next minute or so. Doing really well. We've been trying to chase him down for a while now. I have been planning to ride with him, but at this rate, we're going to struggle to catch him and have enough time for me to ride with him before I have to do my run. So. We spotted Fraser. He's got some speed, 60k an hour. How you doing? You alright?
Word, it's windy.
Right, we've just passed Fraser, so the plan is for me to join him. So just getting everything out quickly. I'm going to get changed. We do have a slight issue though on the kit front because Fraser was very well prepared and forgot his bike jersey. So he has got my bike jersey. That leaves me with either Heather's bike jersey, which will obviously be quite small, some Speedos, probably not a good choice, or a tri-suit, so I'm going to possibly go with the tri-suit.
I'm not trying to change your mind, I'm just hoping you stay a while. Ooh, I can change this, I can shake this fate.
Okay, we're desperately trying to catch Mark and Fraser. So we dropped Mark off, hence why he's not in the car anymore, and he is helping Fraser for a little bit, but we've got to try and catch them, obviously, to get some clips of them actually riding their bikes. But then we've got to pick Mark up again to take him to the start of the marathon.
Do you think he's forgotten about the marathon?
Well, I am slightly concerned. We've been kind of chasing Mark for a little while, and I think he's just loving riding his bike.
Well, yeah, I was. After climbing almost 700 meters, it was time to descend down Tabiesco.
Mark rode with me for about 50 kilometres. And by the time he dropped off, I was feeling pretty exhausted. It all of a sudden felt pretty lonely. And it made me realise just how hard the Ironman Lanzarote course must be. I really had to dig deep to get to the finish line.
How are you feeling?
Apprehensive. Yeah, we just peeled off and left Fraser to it. He's finishing the last, I'd say about 60k. So I've just got changed and grabbed a few snacks. We're going to make our way over there. But yeah, I think where we've just been busy, I've been cheering everyone on and obviously trying to help Fraser a little bit on the bike. Haven't really thought too much about the run, so I haven't really eaten that, well today. So I don't feel massively prepped, but what's really getting me going is this excitement and everyone's pushing themselves. So I'm sure it'll be absolutely fine. Just not the usual preparation.
As Mark prepped, I suffered. I'd been to a fairly dark place on this ride, but the closer I got to the finish, and the more I could feel my legs picking up the pace, and knowing I didn't have to run after certainly helped drive me forwards. And then the road started to open, and I found a reason to love riding the bike again. This was it, the last stretch, and a beautiful descent back into Puerto del Carmen. I could feel the end, so I gave it everything.
Literally, we just arrived, just having a little stretch. Oh god, that's Fraser there. Here he comes. Look at that timing. Well done.
So, this was it. Me off to complete my first ever marathon. We really had only just arrived, and I wasn't feeling particularly well prepped. I had a 29-minute deficit to pick up, so I would really have to pull something quite special out of the bag to succeed at this challenge.
Everyone's worried I'll go too hard too quick. Yeah, I think they're probably right.
It maybe wasn't hard to guess at the beginning of my run that we had lost the record. However, a little oversight on our part, we didn't have any aid stations. It wasn't until mile 13 that I got any fluid, but I was already in trouble and suffering with dehydration. True to form, the guys stayed with me the whole way. But as the rain began to fall, I had a decision to make. Either stop because the record had gone, or complete the challenge for the sake of the others.
I think it has dawned on all of us, though, as we realise that the record is well and truly gone, sadly. That is not in sight today, so now it's just a matter of trying to get Mark home. He's already walked a little bit at the halfway point, so, walking is happening. And I think it's just, maybe when he gets to that point, we did have a bit of a chat of once we actually get to 8 hours 30 and the record's definitely gone, that could be a mental point for Mark to maybe say, okay. I really don't know what he'll choose, and we have got to work tomorrow, so he might be thinking of that because, you know, he does take his job at GTM very seriously as well. So it just depends like how it's weighing up and quite how clear his mind is when he's like in this state that he's in right now.
After 3 hours and 30 minutes, I did eventually manage to drag myself across the finish line in the dark.
Woo! Well done.
We had all known for a while that the record wasn't actually going to be broken. But as we stood there congratulating Mark, it just suddenly didn't seem to matter.
The record was gone, but I just, yeah, it was more just for ourselves, see what we could do. But that whole team element, it just kept me going. I think, I do wonder whether if this was my own race and I was running on my own, I probably would have stopped because I felt horrific. But the fact that I knew the other two had worked so hard prior to that point, I just had to finish.
Well, guys, that was definitely an epic day yesterday.
Yeah, some more than others, maybe.
Yeah, it was long for us out there.
We are all still standing, I'm glad to say, and we've had time to reflect a little and add up the numbers. Now, my swim, including transition, came in at just over an hour, 1 hour and 59 seconds.
That's right, and my bike time was 5:05:52.
And although my run did start off very well, I'm very sorry, guys. I ended up with a 3 hours 31:16.
You gave it a good go, though. You really did.
But that gave us an overall time of 9 hours 38 and 7 seconds. So a fair chunk off Timo's time.
But where would that have put us in the race?
Well, that would actually put us as 11th male pro overall. And actually, we did still beat Natasha Badman's time, who won the female pro race on that day.
Well, thanks guys for helping me to that one, because it definitely didn't start us off right. But I mean, yes, we didn't manage to succeed in the challenge, but we did complete it. And I think, you know, Fraser, you definitely feel like you're part of the team after that.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely feel like I'm in the gang.
Yeah, well, what's that up for the next challenge then?
Oh.
Watch this space.
I don't know.
Well, if you like this video, do hit that thumbs up button. If you'd like to see more from GTN, click on the globe and subscribe. And subscribe.
What's up, Trainiacs? So, 2018, it's about to come to an end, as we've been doing for the past little while. We are taking a trip down memory lane, and what I've been doing just recently is thinking back to what were the goals that I set over 2018? What did I want to accomplish over 2018? So I went back and I watched the video of my goals for 2018 that I shot this time last year, and we're gonna see how I did. All right, sounds thrilling, doesn't it? All right, so we are all Christmassy up in here. I don't know if you noticed, but we've got the green Philips hue, and it's kind of subtle, but we got red right across there. It's so festive. I'm just that kind of guy. All right, let's look back on 2018 and see how I did. Well, I gotta say that we have taken a couple of very serious left turns over the course of the year. However, it's been an amazing year at the same time. Rolled with some punches, learned a few lessons. The couple of left turns were, I started and stopped the Trainee Ask podcast, and I learned a very important lesson that as we were trying to grow this, that it can't just be all things to all people all the time, and we can't stretch ourselves too thin, because from that standpoint, if we just keep doing more and more and more and more, we're not going to be good at anything. So I had to stop the Trainee Ask podcast, even though it was starting to get upwards of 2,000 downloads an episode, times 5 episodes a week. That's a lot of downloads. And it was really good interaction, but it was also taking away from some of the things that we were starting to look at. It was not allowing me to research the Triathlon Terran podcast. It was also then kind of taking away from what we were building with Team Trainiac. Like if people are paying to have my help on Team Trainiac, but they can also just get an answer from me if they submit a question to the Trainiac podcast, like it was just too many things and we had to simplify. In addition to that, I can't show the video anymore. I can't even go like, hey, it's up here, because the old developer that took the first crack at the Team Trainiac platform created a privacy claim with that video, and it got taken down, unfortunately. But that was probably the biggest lesson of the year, and looking back on it, like, what would I do? I don't know. I'm not a software developer. I'm not a software company. I had a guy that I thought I trusted. I don't know, maybe when he came to me and made some offers, do some background checking. I don't know. I caught a lot of flack for how I dealt with it on the internet, but what do you expect? Like, I'm going into a business that I know nothing about. I'm gonna make some mistakes, and I made some mistakes. However, the new platform is miles better than what would have happened with that original developer. Way better. It's gonna be amazing. Early January. Looking at a little bit of growth numbers, give you some context, YouTube almost doubled. I think we had 27,000 subscribers when we rolled over to 2018, and we've got about 24,000 more. We've got, I think, 52, in between 52 and 53. Instagram basically doubled, just under 31,000, and the podcast grew to being, if you haven't heard this, you might not have heard this, I don't really talk about this, but the Triathlon Terran podcast, it's the most highly rated and ranked triathlon podcast in the world on Apple Podcasts. Did you know that? I didn't know if you knew that. Rarely talk about it. And we get about double the downloads, where we were getting at the beginning of the year somewhere in between about 4,000 and 5,000 downloads. Now we're upwards like 7 to 8. Getting some really cool guests. Been a crazy fun year with the podcast. NTK is most of the talent because she does the editing and asks the good questions, and I just try not to swear. Now, soft stuff, we've also kind of established ourselves in the industry. I mean, we're still not, I think, a regular name out there. We did have to fight a little bit with Ironman to get media accreditation because they didn't really know what we were. But then once we got in touch with them and sort of explained what we do, and then more of the people around Ironman who knew what we do lobbied for us. They were like, yeah, Terran's doing really cool stuff. Then we got media accreditation, and then we got media accreditation again in Kona, and we go to conferences now, and apparently people know about us. We go to industry events and people know about us. We make requests to have people on the podcast and they're like, yeah, I've heard about you. So whereas in 2017 going to Kona, we were keeping busy, but a lot of the things that we were keeping busy doing was just trying to meet people because they didn't know who we were. They were apprehensive about meeting us and taking time out of their schedule for us. Whereas this year we were busy because of all the obligations that we already had lined up. We couldn't fit everything in, and they were incoming. It was totally different. It was really cool. In addition to that, when we were at Kona 2017, few people reached out, said hi. This year, 2018, we met so many new friends. That was really cool. Now let's get into some of the goals that I had for 2018. Number one, I wanted to create a free resource for you every 2 months. I believe in 2017, right at the end, we had 3 free resources. That means that by the end of the year, we would have had 9. We got 9! We got more than 9! We got lots! From that standpoint, we grew the amount of people that have downloaded some sort of a free resource, a training plan, a learn to swim program, a strength training program. 25,000 people have done that, whereas we had about 5,000 at the end of last year. Knowing that we have helped that many people for free and get into the sport and train more intelligently, more efficiently, not just beat themselves into a pulp with hours and hours upon training, but do it really smart, that I really like. Next, race schedule. it was not as busy as I had hoped. I wanted to do a race in March, do maybe 2 races in July, and then peak for Half Ironman Worlds. Didn't do the March race. I was still banged up, still injured. I didn't do 2 more races. I did one little kind of tune-up Olympic, which PB'd, and then I did Coeur d'Alene, where I PB'd, and then I did Half Ironman Worlds, where I PB'd. So the performances I was really happy with from a triathlon standpoint, but it came with, I had to juggle things, I had to drop things. I had told you that I was going to be racing certain times, and I didn't because I had to change them. So I'll call that like a half win. And then this was the big goal. This was the big goal. I think it was literally sitting right here in the same spot with these same Philips Hue fancy lights in behind me, where I said at the end of 2018, I wanted Triathlon Terran to be all that we did. And so it's important that I get Triathlon Terran to a point that it's stable enough that it's all that we do, so we can keep doing it. And that was important to me, to be able to step away from doing social media consulting work for clients and just be able to do this, because that would have meant that this has longevity and that I can do something meaningful that helps people in the world for the rest of my life, and it's not reliant on basically having money funding it from elsewhere, that this was a business in itself, because that means that it can be around and it can help people get into the sport and train intelligently and all that good stuff for years and years to come. Is it the only thing that we do? Yes. Is it because it's a self-sustaining business? No. We had wound down all of the social media consulting work we were doing, expecting the Triathlon Trainiac platform to be very busy and taking over what we do. It's not launched yet because of the difficulties and the left turns that we took in the year. And we're on a little bit of precarious footing. But I really think that we can get to the point very soon in 2019 that between the Team Trainiac and between the Pro Masterclasses with Lucy Charles, with Cam Worth, with other potentially yet to be announced athletes, go to triathlonterran.com/early masterclass if you want to see everyone that's officially announced. Between those couple of things, I think we got ourselves a business. I'm pretty sure that within the first half of 2019, this is going to be it. We can do this. With your help, Trainiacs. And I have you to thank for that. And that is the biggest thing that I look at as a massive success from 2018. We have so many new friends, whereas in 2017, we had people that we were starting to know, but now we've got all kinds of legitimate new people that I can consider friends. Ventum, they came over and had a bunch of wine on our lanai after Kona. Pros, whether it's Sarah True coming up and just hanging out and killing some time before her press conferences, or going for the warm-up rides with Danielle Dingman at Coeur d'Alene, they're legitimately pros that when in Newsday I'm like, hey, you know my pal Matt Russell? Legitimately a pal. And then down to people that watch the videos, Cindy and Phil, who hosted us in Coeur d'Alene, like actually friends that we were talking about going and racing a destination race together. Like that is what the best part of triathlon is. It's the friends that you meet, the people that you train with, the people that you race with in destination races with, the people that you travel with. It's not the times, it's not the being a super A-type awesome triathlete. It's about being a better person with the people around you, your friends, your family, your connections, your training partners, and we have met some awesome people, had the support of some fantastic companies, and I can't thank everyone enough. I'm really excited for where 2019 is headed. 2018, well, we've had some bumps. I gotta say it's a success. It's been a lot of fun. It's been really tough, but I owe you all a big thank you for being along for the ride, and especially when times have got tough, being there and being supportive. You're extremely motivating to me. You give me the motivation to get out here and train every single morning. You give me the motivation to get out here and learn about how to be a better leader and be a better teacher and learn more things about triathlon so that I can share it with you. And I owe that all to you. And a little bit to NTK and a lot to Mel. So thank everyone that's been involved. This is not just the Triathlon Terran YouTube channel. This is Triathlon Terran with NTK, with Mel, with some awesome Trainiacs, with some awesome companies. So thanks everyone. Make sure you're subscribed for 2019 later Trainiacs. What's up, Trainiacs? In this third video in the series of looking back on 2018, I got to thinking, what were my favorite products? What's my favorite gear that I've got to try over the course of the year? So I thought back, and there are 7 standout products that were either a surprise or lived up to their expectations that I look back and I was like, yes, that is some good gear. And I'm gonna shock you, that's not on the list, although I do love it. It is beautiful. Let's get into the list. First off, for starters, I want to thank all of you for tuning into these videos. The reason that I'm able to bridge the gap between companies wanting to get their stuff out to people, me being able to try it, and bringing it to you to let you know what I think about it. Is it worth buying? Is it worth trying? What are the things that you should be aware of? I kind of look at myself as like a filter for these products to you, and the only reason that I'm able to do that and try all these things and let you know if they do live up to their hype is because you all pay attention. So thank you all so very much, and of course thank you to the companies that allow me to try this. Some of these products, yes, are sponsors of us, but I will reiterate, as I always do, we never take on any sponsorship from a company that has a product that we don't use and are massive fans of day to day. So every single one of these products is something that I am gaga over. Secondly, you probably will notice that most of the reviews of products that I talk about are extremely positive. For every one video that I do that is extremely positive, there are probably 2 to 3 products that I've tried and I haven't even talked about at all. And the reason that I don't tell you about these products that I don't like is because I just want you to know that my recommendations are of the products that I cover, and I don't need to slander companies out there that put out something that's substandard, because they'll get coverage however they get coverage. It'll be out there. I don't need to bring down their product. I want to spread positive vibes, all right? In a lot of cases, I just say, you know what, I can't say amazingly good things about it, so I don't. Now, let's get into the list of the 7 products that I was most excited about this year. Now, I said it is not the Ventum bike behind me. However, the new Ventum NS1 road bike, OM Jeebus. Holy smokes. I'm going to be honest with you. This bike, I have grown to absolutely love it. I think it's the best performing tri-bike out there. The numbers often prove that, but I get it. It doesn't look amazing. It's certainly grown on me. You slap a decal on there in the whole Trainiac pattern, I think it looks pretty good, but I get why people aren't a big fan of it. So when they told me in December of 2017 that they were coming out with a road bike, I was like, yeah, well, you know, I hope it looks nice. When I saw it in Kona, it surpassed so much of my expectations. To